Hello, everybody. Now, I've made a video today about Esteval, and this is my second video, or the first live after some few days. Thing is, in less than 2 hours, you are going to face by Leverkusen, and there's a lot from the heading, from the title. Those are the things I'm going to talk about. Don't know where this is coming from. Those are the things I'm going to, the things that we have to look in this game, the things that are important for Chelsea fans, Chelsea stakeholders, Chelsea haters, people who are going to do the hate watch, because I think those people are going to do the hate watch are more than even the Chelsea fans who are going to watch this game. And it's important. You see, first, the thing is, the team we are facing tonight, by Leverkusen, is being coached by Ten Hag and has not been performing well. They have been losing a lot. So, if either way you are going to lose, you are going to draw, it's going to be a bad look for us. And it's not just because we only have another friendly, one more friendly until we start the Premier League. It's because Bayer Leverkusen has not been doing well. Like during the friendly, they've been losing a lot. They have lost a lot and drew some, but they've lost more than they have won. So it's expected that if we are going into this match after what we have shown, and because we don't have a lot of preseason games, that this should be a game that we should win. But that's not important. That's not important for us today. There's a lot of things that are important for us to watch for this game. And first, as I've talked in my previous video, is we have new signings that are going to play the game. And the first one is Estevao. And you see, since yesterday, not even yesterday, like for a period, I think since he was introduced, like he was being introduced, and then just after some few minutes, there's news that there's a lot of teams who wants Estevao. It's like a lot of teams think Chelsea are not ready to put Estevao in. Like a lot of managers think that, this Chelsea team is just there to sign people and probably keep them in the bench for a while. And if it looks like they're not going to play, ship them out on loan. And they think Estevao is one person who is going to be shipped out on loan. Because then again, we have a lot of forwards. Like in his side, he's playing in right wing. And if he's playing in right wing, we have Neto right now. Palma could also play there. No, we are not stacked. We are not stacked as I thought. Like probably Neto only. Yeah, in the right wing. Who's there again? It's just Neto. Like somebody who can be in first 11. So there's no chance. There's no way we are going to loan him out. There's no way we are going to, because that's the only option. We are not going to loan him out. And it's important for this game that we see him. I know for most, even for Bayer Leverkusen, I think in this lineup they're going to put their most probable first 11 that they're going to play in the league. Like this is the period in friendlies where a lot of teams become serious, and you have seen was it Arsenal, was it Man United, like in their last friendlies, like you could see they have finally that their coaches have figured out the first 11 that they're going to play with, and you expect Bayer Leverkusen to do so. So Bayer Leverkusen will be fielding a first 11, and probably they will be making a little changes at the end. But us, there's still some, we haven't played any friendly. We just have, the friendly that we played in the during the Club World Cup, like those, they were not friendlies. Like those games we played during the Club World Cup are the same ones. And you see, even in those, was it 25 or 26 players that we went with in Club World Cup? Like right now, we have, I think, probably at least 18 who are still playing in Chelsea. Like we have lost, we are going to lose Jackson. You have lost Drewsbury Hall. You have lost the others, Gui. We have lost Colwell to injury. Those are already four. And there's some guys who are going and some guys. And those were part of the team that we played. So there's a lot of guys who we have signed. And that is Estevao, Hato, who have not played, Gittens, who have not played, that are important in this game, that we have to check them out, check if they are fitting the team, check if we are going with them to the season. I think we haven't made a lot of signing. Still, we are still we are still going to sign Garnacho, I think, and Xavi Simons. I'm not sure, but probably we'll sign Xavi Simons. Those are the two only signings. We haven't made a lot of signings this season. And the two signings, Pedro and Delap, have already played. And now, again, we have to check them out on normal occasions in Stamford. Probably in USA, it was like, you know, that period where you start something and you are so good and people think, yay, you are a messiah, you are a Drogba. And then on ordinary playing surface in Stamford, it starts becoming hard. Now, this is the game where we'll also be, we have evaluated Pedro and Delap, but it will just be a continuation. So that's the first thing that we're going to check on this game, is how Estevao, Hato, Gittens, Pedro, Delap, am I forgetting anybody? Is there anybody I'm forgetting? All those will be faring out. Now, the second thing which is important and is linked to this new signing is that for 2 games in Club World Cup, Maresca used Palma as a right winger. That game we lost against, which team did we lose? Flamengo. And that game we won against Paris Saint-Germain. Palma was playing in the right wing. Now, you could say a lot of pundits, a lot of people who are like, we have been through a period, especially after the Club World Cup, where a lot of people are really looking at the tactics that Maresca has been using. And if you go to YouTube, if you search Maresca tactics and you go through those videos, they'll tell you that since the start of the season, when we signed Maresca, until the last game, there hasn't been a game where it was like the tactics was similar to a second game. Like, it wasn't like Maresca came in. As much as we have been talking about it, we have also been saying, Maresca does not want to change. Is always adamant on using his tactic. But if you look keenly, he has been always shifting some things, bringing Cucurella to 10, dropping him back, trying Reece James at the mid, getting him back, trying a 5, trying a 3, trying a CCB, trying everything. Like, he has been changing a lot of tactics, and it's not just about widely formation. It has been how players move, how people play, how we are creating chances, which chances we are using, how we are changing. And it's because you could say that he has been flexible. He has been flexible with these tactics, but it also because we have had changes in players. Like we have had injuries on the person that you depend the most dependable players sometimes. Even during a period when Jackson was out, he had to try a lot of formations, a lot of people at the forward position to just see if he can get somebody to depend on scoring. And those are the things that made him like try to change. And even during the Club World Cup, when we started until the end, there were always some changes, and it was just not in the tactics, it was also in the people who are playing. Sometimes it was Chaloba and Tosin, sometimes it is Tosin and Levi Colwill, sometimes it is Colwill and Chaloba, and even on the sides, sometimes it's Rese James, sometimes it's Malogusto, sometimes it's Caicedo. Over through the, you can say that he has been flexible with the tactics, and that is not going to change. But there are things that will always, sometimes things just happen that we think this thing is too good for you to change. Like if you're saying the way Caicedo plays, it's just the way Caicedo plays. If you tamper with how he plays, sometimes you create a lot of problems to the team. Now, the only time you can change Caicedo is if the combination with anybody is working better than the way he was playing. Like if you can say, if I put Lavia here and whatever Caicedo is doing, he starts from the right back. Or if Caicedo has to go forward, he also has to come back. Now you can say, okay, now that will work. But you can't change certain things. And this is one thing that we are going to check. If Maresca has decided that he needs to use a lot of, center mids, like proper traditional center mids. Like if he has two and he has two center mids and a DM, meaning he has to take Palmer to the right wing. If he has to take Palmer to the right wing, the way we played against Paris, how, because that's, we could see the difference between how he was getting the chances vis-a-vis all these other games. So if that is working, we are also going to see in this game, as he made up his mind that from now on is going to use Palmer at the right wing. This is also another thing that we are going to check. Now, the next thing is, because again it's an ongoing concern. Like yesterday, if you don't know, if you have not been around news around social media, is that we have lost Colwill to an ACL injury, and an ACL usually takes probably a minimum of 4 months, sometimes 6, sometimes 7, meaning the earliest Colwill will be back will be probably in January, meaning the first period of the season we are not going to have him, and probably even some months even after the second part, from 19-20 games. But these 4 months, August, September, October, November, and December, those are 5. We are not going to have Levi Colwill. And a lot of people have been making suggestions that just because we have lost Colwill, we have been discussing all through the season, especially when who's this CB came from Juventus, and he said, you know what, I want to join my team so that I can go to the Club World Cup. And everybody was like, no, you are not going to do that to us. You decided that you needed more game time. You decided that you are not going to play where the coach wants you to play. You decided you are not going to be a backup. You decided you are not going to care about the team, especially when they need you. That's what has been the case. And I think this is the worst time, because it was the worst time for him to do that, because people just years before, this thing of snaking, like players snaking the team, started happening with for Chelsea. That is started happening with Couture when he just decided all of a sudden, I want to go. Then it was Rudiger at some point said, Real Madrid has called, I'm not signing a new contract. You had a lot of time to make me sign a new contract, but you decided not. And then Lukaku. And now the fans were just ready to see who's the next culprit, who's the next guy who we are going to tell is a snake. You know, uh, let me search something here first. Let me search it. Yeah, they were just asking like who's going to be the next snake, and you know he decided, like Vega decided. He didn't know, probably he didn't know. He was just eager to play, just wanted to play because he was coming from a team where he was getting all the minutes. And he decided, you know what, I want to play. So if Juventus are calling me, I need to go. I need to go and get my minutes. And now coming back, people are furious. People, the fans didn't want to hear any of him. And now we are in a place where if Colwell is not playing, no, we have signed Jorel Hato, but Hato was signed as probably as a left back. He was signed as a cover up, a backup, a replacement for Cucurella. He wasn't signed to play CB. Now the only left center back that we have is Badiashile. And now how we play, especially when we have possession, is we usually have a CCB. And sometimes the CCB is tossing if it's a combination of Colwell and tossing. If tossing is not there and it's a combination of Colwell and Chaloba, it's usually Colwell playing that side. Now we might decide we don't need another CB, and this is the game that will show us that if we don't need another CB, Tosin will be playing as the left center back. We can always start with Tosin as the CCB, not left center back. I mean CCB. I don't know how we'll arrange it, but during the game we will have Tosin as CCB, and then the person playing here will be Hato. He'll be playing as left center back, which is basically a left back whenever we are not being attacked. And then Cucurella will be going forward. And then they said you might have anybody. You might choose to have Chaloba. You might choose to have Reece James. I don't know if that works. But we also have Fofana. And this is the other thing I think that is giving confidence to the players, is giving confidence to Maresca, is giving confidence to the football directors. That because Fofana is here, then he has to be in the lineup, because he has always shown that he's good. But he has stayed far long during injury. I think right now, if you remove that period where he played a couple of games, I think 4 or 5 games, it should be around 9 months of not playing a game. If you remove that, just that patch where I played like I think 5 or 6 games, it's 9 months. And now everybody who is coming from injury can't play the way he was playing. Even when Reece James had to do the surgery and came back, he was not running the way he used to. So before that, he would run, he would be on the wing, he would be on the flanks, ahead, back defending, everywhere. But right now, it's just a little cooled into some space. It doesn't move far from it. And you think if Fofana is going to be depended on to play without getting an injury, very soon. He has to play that position where he's not there to tackle, to run around with wingers to try and get the ball from wingers, because if he does that again, he'll go back. But we still have defenders. We still have, as I said, Colwell is there. Tosin, Chaloba now, they cancel them. They cancel them. And the right backs. Now, do we do we do we call back Vega into the lineup, or we decide a snake is always a snake? He has to go. And Badiashile is always there. He's also there. Do we decide that Vega has to go, or we have a certain part of the heart where we feel like, you know what, if we have a guy who can play, who can, offer something that we don't have, we should have him play. Yeah, he might have done some few or three things, self-interest. But do we just let him off because we want to show players that they are not bigger than the team? Do we have to really punish them? Show them that, you know what, if you do this to this club, then this is what will happen to you. That has happened to certain players. There's a time where people felt like, you know what, Lukaku is still among the best strikers, and we don't have a striker. We only have James, Nicholas Jackson. Do we bring Lukaku, or we just decide, it's over, you have to go? And by the look of things, the fans, the sport directors, the club had decided it was over for him. The same way they decided it was over for Kepa. If you snake us the first time, you're not going to get any chance. And I think this is going to happen to Vega. I don't think they're going to allow, especially because the person that they were at loggerheads with was Maresca. And Maresca is still the coach. Now, you have to, I think the first lineup is out. I'm sure that there'll be a lot of changes during first half, but let me check. Or it's not there. I think it's exactly 1 hour to the game. Let me check if it's there. Let me check if it's there. No, they haven't posted. Why haven't they posted? It's exactly 1 hour to 2. It's here. They have posted it. Oh, they're starting. Yeah, as I said, they're starting with Sanchez at the post. Andre Santos, Estevao and Liam Delap will make their first Stamford Bridge appearance this evening as Chelsea face. So the first lineup was Jorgensen, Gusto, Achampong, Chaloba, Kurela, Caicedo, Andre Santos, Estevao, Palma, George, Delap. I think all these players will play for 45 minutes, and then the second half will be Sanchez, Tosin, Hato, James, Enzo, Raksaki, Sugo, Gittens, Neto, Joe Pedro. But you see, now this is what we are talking about. Estevao, I think is very, very important for this team, and we are not going to see a scenario where Palma will be playing in the right wing. I don't see any. We might probably have a single game, or because sometimes Maresca usually plays on per game basis, so he might change on certain games and put Palma on, especially if you are facing a big team that wants to attack. But if it's a team that wants to defend, I think Palmer will just play in that position in the CIM. When you see this game now, they start, giving you a lot of thinking in Maresca's head. Now they're filling up the patches. Now, between Delap and Pedro will be the first choice. I'm not sure until now. It might be Pedro, Delap, but I don't see there's a big difference, because if it's scoring, I think Joao Pedro knows how to score. Like, he has that, you know, technical. He's technical. He has that Brazilian technical. But Delap is just a force. He just plays like your chorus. And sometimes, those standard strikers who had to run to get the ball, disturb the defenders, create a lot of problems to the defenders. But sometimes they'll miss the chances. And I'm sure it'll also be a culprit in that. It'll be a culprit. The same thing that Jackson faced this season. I'm not trying to be negative. Why am I negative? But I just think that he will miss. He will score more than Jackson, because he has good shooting technique. But because he's always rushing, he's always trying, I think, probably to impress, or he just feels that like he can't dribble. He just has to shoot on the first instance. And sometimes when you do that, sometimes you make a lot of mistakes. You miss a lot of chances. And I think that will be something that Chelsea fans have to accept. It has to happen. Now, Joao Pedro, again, he plays a little different. He's cool, and I think he's going to score a lot of goals. But he's also not going to create a lot of, or get to the end of a lot of chances, because sometimes he usually moves too back. And I think because his background has always been a CAM, his background has not been striking. Even with Brighton, he was playing most games as a CAM. So sometimes he finds himself so back when he should be at the center, at the forward. Now, after the lineup, the other thing that we are going to talk, I've gone through all of it. I wanted to talk about the new signings, the lineup, where will Palmer be playing, and will be replacing Colwill, and then Fofana. Those are the only things I wanted to talk about. And now, with the lineup, now they have answered some of the issues. They've already answered some of the issues, that Palmer will still be playing as a CM, because they have to put Estevao there. And I think we have a lot of CBs. We still have Champong, we still have Chaloba, and it also answers the issue with Nicolas. I think now, even Fabrizio, I talked about Nicolas Jackson is gone. I think based on this, I've started to believe that for real, we have to agree that Jackson is gone. And I wanted to talk about that issue. I wanted to talk about certain transfers. That sometimes I feel that we're making a lot of transfers, and some of the transfers we might come to regret. I'm not sure about Jackson, but I'll make a video. But there are people who we need to talk about. Just Dewsbury Hall, Ugochukwu. Those are the players I think we probably, even if we had to sell, I think we are just selling them too early. Like, if we had waited a little bit, it's probably because we are so eager to get to the end of results, and sometimes you have to sell all these guys and also make the financial play. But sometimes you feel like, if a person is 21 and is showing a lot of things, is showing a lot of improvement, if you just keep him a little bit, 22, 23, probably he might turn out. You might feel like Real Madrid might come for somebody Real Madrid might come for Caicedo, and he has to go. And now Ugochukwu has gone from Burnley to Newcastle, or to what's that German team that always buys, don't know, or to Bayern, and now he's on top of his game, and now you want him, you sold him for 30, and now he's worth 120, and Caicedo has gone to Real Madrid. Now you have to meet the price tag. You have to consider those things. If you see a certain light on a player, if you see a certain, like, a player is going to be something, you don't have to be rushing. You don't have to be rushing with the sell unless it has to. Like, you have to sell them. If you don't have to sell them, then don't. But the thing is, the lineup again: Jorgensen, Gusto, Achampong, Chalobah, Orella, Caicedo, Andre Santos, Estevao, Palma, George, Delap. Who are we looking for in first half? Estevao, Delap. We have seen George, we know how he plays. We have seen Palma, we know how he plays. Andre Santos with Caicedo. Again, you are going to see that how they are going to play. And then at the back, we have seen that, like, that back line. We have seen it in so many games. Gusto, Champong, and if we're not also going to sell Champong, it's also, they'll also bolster our defense. Yeah. Then in second half, who are we going to check? We'll also be checking Pedro, Gittens, Raksaki, Esugo. We have seen Raksaki a lot of times. Esugo, we have also seen how he plays. And then who's the other guy? Hato. Yeah, that's it. That's up from me. And then after at the end of the game, I'll also be here to talk about the bad, the good, and the weird in that game. Anyway, until the end of the game, you have a great night or a great game. My prediction: this is not. I don't think I should predict this game because we're just checking how we play. It's important to check how we play than the scores. Because if we are scoring 8 goals, and it's just because Bayer Leverkusen are also testing their players, it wouldn't give a good, how do you say, is it a scale? Is it, you know, like, where to place the team? Because sometimes you may think you are the best in the world and you're not. It's just because you are playing with the second or C team of another opponent, and now you go to the league and then you start wondering, like, why were we winning all these friendlies, and then when it's time to really apply ourselves, you're not. It's because sometimes, because you have won a lot of friendlies. We haven't won any single friendly, but I'm just saying, if you win this one and win against AC Milan and we think you are the best in the league or the best in the world, what happens is that we don't sign anybody, we don't see the errors, we don't see the mistakes, and then during the league is when we start seeing the mistakes, and then now we'll be thinking that, okay, we should have signed somebody to cover there, or we should have done this or done this or done this. So in this game, the important thing is that we see how all these players fit. We see if we are as good as at the end of the Club World Cup, and if all these players are applying, and especially if we really hit the nail with the Delap and Pedro. Those are the people I'm going to see if we're going to create the chances, and if they're going to convert the chances. Because if they don't, then we'll have a problem, and probably we'll just tell Man United, hey, I don't know, is it Man United? Because Man United has signed Sesko. I don't know who's coming for Nicholas Jackson. There's Bayern, there's Newcastle, there's... Now we'll be able to tell them that, you know what, we probably, this should not be happening. We need Jackson back. But anyway, that's from me. And you should subscribe. Honestly, Honestly, if you're watching my videos and you need us to really making this thing over and over and over and over again, make an effort to subscribe. You don't need to watch every game. You don't need to watch every minute. But if you subscribe, you allow our channel to be pushed to people who will be watching this channel, who will be watching this views, who will be giving a lot of reviews. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for streaming. Thanking you for being here for that 5 minutes.